Tevez da solo, Tevez al limite dell'area, gli fa fuori tutti, Tevez, si apre la porta, Tevez, gol, da dietro, Pirlo dentro,
Ciao Juventini, welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel where it's all Juve all the time, and it is game day, all right? So, Juventus, Empoli, what has to be 3 points, right? We're going to say ciao to everybody in the live here. Bob Yogasal, of course, need all these 3 points. Let's go. Can't afford any slip-ups, all right? Jeremiah coming in here saying, hey guys, we badly need this victory to keep in touch with the top and build momentum for the Champions League. Max has got to get the starting 11 spot on. Start strong and finish strong. We will see, and we will go over all that. And there's a lot in news, all right? And as you can see, unfortunately, with some of these midweek ones and even during the week ones, the weekend ones are a lot easier. Today, it's just me, okay? So we're going to kick it like the original days back in 2018 where it was just me solo, okay? So just me solo, but not technically solo because I've got the amazing AJC Army in the live chat already firing things up. Ciao to Michael Razzo. Ciao to Dels. Vito, good morning. Good morning. Alex P. Ciao, Miko. And then we have, what's up, my guy? Let's get that W today from Lazio. Let's get the W. It's all about getting the W. But before we get to Empoli and focus and look at that actual matchup, we are going to talk a little bit about the news. And I'm curious to get some of your thoughts because I usually throw out the daily update videos and we'll have games on weekends and whatnot. But with this one, there was quite a bit in news today circulating, and we'll get to some of it. Basically, we'll start with Coppa Italia. So Coppa Italia, we know we're going to face Monza now, all right? And it's, you know, what normally would be a great draw for the first round of Coppa presents an interesting one for Juventus because of the fact they dropped one in Serie A to them. And you know that Monza is going to believe that they can get something out of it. So it's going to be up to Juve to crush those dreams and crush those spirits. So Monza, and I believe it's still to be determined the exact date, probably January 11th or January 18th is what's being slated and set out right now. So Monza in the Coppa Italia. Rodrigo De Paul. De Paul could present himself as an opportunity for Juventus, and they are interested in the player, have been interested in the player. We're interested in him before he went to Atletico Madrid, and obviously Atletico Madrid apparently is going to ask for 40 million euros for the player, which is above market value. However, just all rumors right now, and obviously it's kind of strange how right now at this time there's so much involving transfer rumors and whatnot, because usually it doesn't pick up till close to the winter mercado. So I can't recall a season where it's actually taken place so early on into the season, like just already talking about summer transfers and everything like that. I can't recall one that happened so quickly and so soon, but this particular season, there is a lot being discussed about potential transfers and everything like that. So speaking of players and opportunities and whatnot, we are going to get to our young guys because there's a lot of news circulating around the young guys, especially Fagioli. But first, we're going to get to a big one that's got a lot of Juventini fired up right now. And right on cue is Jeremiah coming in here with the please no extension for Bonucci. We've got to let him go and move on to others. Enough of the old parts. So here we go. Let's get into the Bonucci extending his contract. So, I mean, typically it's not that big a deal to extend guys. Like, he's still going to play on, whether he's at Juventus or not. Like, he's still got some play to him. Some will argue the level and whatnot. I think for us, the issue is that he's higher up on the totem pole right now for us based on our current roster than he really should be. And that's fair. That's a fair assessment and whatnot. But this is something that just highlights where Juve's management has kind of dropped the ball. And this is, you're talking about losing Chiellini, you're talking about extending Bonucci and whatnot, but these guys have been around for so long. And when you start looking at names that this even came up on the daily update video from yesterday, like, should we be talking about how we should have kept Demiral a little bit more? There was Romero that rolled through, and there were opportunities. Juve just hasn't had that contingency plan set up. So while, a lot of the focus is on the financials and trying to catch up to the Premier League sides and all this and whatnot, look, there's other teams, there's other clubs out there that aren't getting those in terms of funds and whatnot. But the biggest thing that I noticed from Juve and a lot of clubs that perform well, regardless of where they sit on that, is contingency planning. And Juve's really, really dropped the ball on that next wave and ushering that next wave. And this is what's kind of creating doubts in my mind right now in terms of if the guy at the helm currently is the right guy for that. And if we are truly, in fact, going to move to that, or if we are going to go back into our old ways of signing experienced players and banking on a lot of free transfers and whatnot, it's interesting. It's an interesting mix. For me, Bonucci, though, the time is up. He's going to play on for us. Like, if he's willing to take significant cut just to stay, I would honestly keep him around. But again, like, fourth option, whatnot, like, offer some change up and whatnot, because I mean, whether we want to say how we feel about his leadership or not or whatnot, again, when Chiellini, Buffon, some of these guys that have passed through that were leaders in different manners still hold true and speak to his leadership ability and what he does provide in terms of being a leader. It's there. Even Cristiano Ronaldo was talking about it. So it's like there's something there in terms of leadership, but actual play on the pitch puts him at like a fourth option at best if he sticks around. The problem with us right now is that we're in a scenario where we have to bank on him. I do find it interesting and a little bit odd that, there's been so much smoke about his relationship with Allegri and whatnot. Max trying to shut it down in his press conference yesterday ahead of this match against Empoli. And then now all of a sudden it's like we're extending Bonucci. Regardless of Romeo Agresti being the one to report it, I actually am not so sure that it's actually even going to happen, especially with the state of Juve right now. The fact that we've heard not only after the defeat to Maccabi, but we started hearing that for weeks prior to that, absolutely everyone was being evaluated. If that is true and that is what's going on, there's just no way I could see them getting into this extension, at least not right now. So I'm still feeling calm. I know everybody's getting fired up. I was looking at social media and everybody's getting fired up about it. We're going to go through the live chat, see what everybody's thinking here. And Luca kind of reiterating what I was just saying about extensions. Not that we're starting winning again, but they're on hold at least until the new year is what I heard. So we will see. Bikramjeet saying he agrees. Bonucci's time is up. Tommy Snipes, congratulations on the jersey winner. Received his Vlahovic kit yesterday. So congrats again to Tom. Throwing out the prediction right out of the gate, 2-0 win today. Okay, let's go. Alex P weighing in on Bonucci, saying Bonucci brings more issues than he solves. We need to move on, even if he forgoes his salary. So look at that. Not even with the drop and whatnot, keeping him around. So, and that's fair. Hey, I get it. Jeremiah saying the BBC era is over. Let's accept it and move on to the younger generation. All right. Luca talking about losing Demiral. De Ligt was soft from management. Well, I don't really count the De Ligt one in there because it was not their choice. So Juve would have kept De Ligt as long as he wanted to stay. He didn't want to stay. Rugani still being in this club didn't help. Sell the deadwood, not the bright future talent. Instead, we did the opposite. The problem is if nobody's buying, you ain't selling. So that's the problem that Juve got into. And even when we talk about Demiral, Romero, and whatnot, so my issues with those moves are that at the time, I did see potential other options as far as generating capital and whatnot, and players that could have been brought in that could have made things work for us. However, we sacrificed there. And again, that was just them buying into the time, saying, hey, we still have, Bonucci, we still have Chiellini and whatnot. So they saw those guys expendable. Obviously, De Ligt entered, so it gave them, this feeling that, yeah, we can wait at this position. We can wait at this position. And they never truly bought into that next wave, that next step, and let them move forward. So it is what it is. And they needed the money, needed to make up for things. COVID threw a big wrench in everything. And that's where we find ourselves. But Bonucci sticking around for me, hey, it's a fourth option if he wanted to be. I'm fine with it if he drops the price tag. But if not, that is my only way I even consider it. If all things remain the same, we should not be extending Bonucci, in my opinion. That's it. But here we go. Let's see. Is there any more comments here? Michael Razzo saying he'd love for us to sign another young Italian center back. Yeah, I mean, who are the options out there? There were some decent shouts, but you would have to wait a little bit longer. And I think the key for Juve is going to find that pairing for Bremer. And we can get into some of the youngster talks. I mean, it is slated that Gatti is going to be in the lineup today. Well, I saw one with Gatti in it. I saw another couple with him out of it. So hopefully he gets a start today. We've only seen him for 180 minutes this season, but this would be one I would definitely unleash him and play him. I think he's more capable than many give him credit for or even know. Really. So, yeah. But as far as finding that pairing, that true guy for Bremer, it's got to be somebody that's locked in and you're 100% confident with. But we need to do that. Gatti's just great to have there as depth. We could use another. And yeah, if that's at the cost of Bonucci, I'm willing to do that. Okay. Now, in terms of the young guys, okay, we were talking about Gatti there and whatnot. It was being reported that Empoli, the team we're going to face today, will in fact be after some of our young guys, Gatti being one of them, but apparently the door was shut extremely quickly on Gatti. Gatti ended up winning the award at the Grande Calcio Gala there for best youngster in Serie B. Okay, so congratulations to him. Again, I would expect him to get the start today. We see Pau Torres is a great shout for a center back. Absolutely to pair up with Bremer. So the youngsters, give him props to Gatti. Hopefully we could see him today. Like I said, mixed reports on the starting lineup. We'll get to that a little bit more, a little further on. Miretti, winning best Italian U21 Golden Boy Awards. Okay, so massive props to him. Okay, in terms of youngsters, Fagioli. We're going to talk a little bit about Fagioli. I want to get everybody's thoughts on Fagioli and just Juve, Max, everything in general, because Fagioli could potentially be heading out on a loan spell in January. Okay, and this is something that, again, could be the sign of maybe I'm just overanalyzing. Maybe I'm looking into this a little bit too much. But for me, for Fagioli to not have made a start in league play and whatnot to this point is quite surprising. It's quite surprising for a number of reasons. Number one, we've had injury issues to deal with. We've struggled to create offense for, most of the season. You have only one midfielder that has been consistent and solid at his role, which also does not include offensive contribution. So for me, it's shocking that all these things are happening and we haven't been able to offer a start for Fagioli. And the thing is, too, I was critical of him throughout the preseason because I thought he needed to bring more and whatnot. But again, there are overall team deficiencies and that are in our play style or lack thereof that actually hinder everyone. But I'd still said I needed more out of him. That does not mean he shouldn't have a starter, have an opportunity, especially when we've seen one guy get put out there repeatedly who has struggled tremendously. Also, all your other guys have struggled in the middle. Literally outside of the Frenchman, but the Frenchman's role isn't that of which, Fagioli, Miretti can offer you. So it's quite interesting here. And the Fagioli thing, like, I don't know. Are you guys fine with just sending him out just to get those minutes? Do you think we need to be at least trying him, using him more? It would have been nice to see him get the actual minutes, see if he can help, see if he can produce something, and then make that call, not just go off of that preseason whatnot. But it is what it is. At the same time, we can't just have him here and freeze him out. It's an interesting one when we think about Fagioli and Michael Razzo saying more playing time for McKennie. Michael Razzo never shying away from his thoughts on McKennie. Jeremiah saying Fagioli needs to play. Period. It's absolutely unbelievable decision from Max. Why can he see that Fagioli is better than McKennie? Ridiculous. Alex P coming in and saying if he's not going to feature here, send him somewhere he get playing time, and that's what it comes down to. But I guess the bigger question is, are we at the point we can't offer Fagioli playing time? From what I'm seeing out of the midfield and what I'm seeing out of this team, I find it hard to believe we can't do that. And for all the things we've tried, 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 3-5-2, we've still never just forgotten about the formation in a couple of those and used two pivots. Use two pivots and play Miretti or play Fagioli as your attacking midfield out of the center of the pitch. None of this nonsense from a right side or from a left side to move forward because you're only going to support one flank that way. Smack dab in the middle of the pitch ahead of two stabilizing pivot midfielders. And that way you can even out your contribution across both sides of the pitch. And I really think that would help our midfield in general. It's shocking when you watch our midfield. They don't even pass amongst one another. We are literally a one flank team. We play down the flanks. It is so predictable, and it creates a lot of our creation issues because we don't use the middle of the pitch, and our midfielders never pass amongst one another. It's strange, and it sticks out like a sore thumb watching us play. It's wild. It's absolutely wild that our midfield does not play as a unit and does not play together. But Alex Peace just kind of nailing it. If he's not going to get minutes here, send him where he can, even if we believe he should be getting those minutes. But Max, is he the guy to usher in this wave? Are we going to adapt a new model where we're going after younger talent and doing that? Is this kind of on Max? Has Fagioli been? My question, I guess, is should Fagioli not be getting a start? Should he have not gotten at least a start up until now, or maybe a couple? Based on what I'm seeing, again, McKennie's one of them. Out of these other guys, I think he should have been. I saw Fagioli as the only one out of the other guys that can offer what Miretti does or close to what Miretti does. So if we spent a good chunk of this season praising Miretti for what he did and how he played and whatnot, I see Fagioli as the only other one that's close in terms of versatility, speed, agility, technical ability to bring that, especially that offensive threat. So it's shocking to me that he hasn't got a start so far. It's an interesting one. It's strange. So Alex P saying if he's not been getting minutes up to now when Pogba was injured and the other midfielders suck, he's not getting when Pogba's back. And there you go. So now with Pogba set to return, it becomes even harder for Fagioli to make that breakthrough. But this will kind of lead to the next little piece of the puzzle here, which is McKennie. Okay, so if McKennie's been the one kind of getting those minutes before, now you're talking about getting rid of these youngsters, okay? But Juve's going to try to pull a little capital in January as well. And one of those midfielders, it's probably safe to assume, if permitted and if the deal is found, that, you know, a McKennie or even a Rabiot would be gone. So you're going to have another spot open up, even if Pogba's coming back. So it's going to be a little bit interesting there. Now, my question to all of you, if Rabiot there's a deal found there and he came in on a free and it's capital, do you take that deal in January? Regardless of where we are standings, regardless of all this, do you take that deal automatically? I'm going to wait for the live chat to chime in there while I kind of drop my thoughts. Based on what I've seen out of the other midfielders, okay, and again, waiting to see what happens with Pogba and everything, Rabiot, whether it be a World Cup year, whether it be whatever, he's still not first on my list of guys to move. And I love that you guys are, yes, 100%. Luke, I'll drive him to the airport myself. I'll drive him myself. Okay. Animesh saying only if it leads to Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. Listen, whatever the reason is that Rabiot's playing the way he is, if he continues that to that point beyond the World Cup, he's not first up on my list. If you can get McKennie, and he's contributed so little this season, and you can find a deal for him, you get good capital on the deal for McKennie, I would probably keep Rabiot and finish out the year with Rabiot. That way you get the capital on the McKennie sale. Rabiot can finish the year out because at least he is doing his job and his role with the team and playing to a good standard. Then move him. He moves away on a free. You've got capital from McKennie. You got your two spots. You got your young guys that you can bring back in terms of Rovella, potentially Fagioli if we do get rid of him in January, move him on to a loan so he can get minutes. Or you can bring in some of these other guys, DePaul being one of them, the dream, Milinkovic-Savic, whatnot. But, you know, honestly, you're not going to get rid of both. So Michael's saying McKennie and Rabiot should both be gone. They aren't Juve quality players. That's a scenario where you can get both of them. Sell McKennie in the January window, keep Rabiot around, and then move Rabiot on naturally as his comes away. So it's gonna be interesting. But Rabiot right now, he's not top of the list for guys to move for me. It's gonna be McKennie. McKennie is one that if the deal's there, I take it. I take it all day with McKennie in January. But just interesting, wanted to gauge everybody's thoughts and whatnot. Everybody's pretty happy to see Rabiot out. It's not going to be much longer one way or another. And like I said, I'd even keep him around if he drops that salary. I would actually do that if he could play this way, the way he has been as late season through. But again, it depends what options are out there to replace him. Then still might not be worth keeping him. But again, we wait and we see. But the Fagioli stuff, all this, it's always interesting to see how Juventini feel. But again, it comes down to minutes. Pogba's getting healthy. So again, we wait. Tomorrow as well, everybody, we have Chiesa taking part in a friendly, and then we will see where he stands, and hopefully that goes well. Okay, so everybody do what you got to do. Okay, tomorrow, wear your lucky shirts, your lucky briefs. I don't know what the hell you do for luck. Okay, crank an espresso back. Okay, do a couple Hail Marys, whatever. Okay, do whatever you do for good luck Let's hope he has a good, strong, positive outing and can come into the squad and offer some help and be part of the next section of the season and be able to offer some minutes starting up, hopefully with Benfica there and everything. Now, talked about our hands and what we can do in Champions League, okay? And look, I know it's out of our hands and we need help and whatnot. Because in my daily update video, I said it's up to us. It is up to us to give ourselves that shot. Everybody reminded me that it's not in our hands. I get it's not in our hands, but it matters nothing if we can't get the job done ourselves. We do need to win the next 2 matches just to even have the opportunity. So that is up to us. So if we can't get that job done, then it doesn't matter regardless. But Benfica on Tuesday, it's going to be a big one. I'm going to be jacked up. I know that everybody's down in the dumps on the Champions League and whatnot, but hey, it ain't over until it's over. Let's beat Benfica on Tuesday and just see where the chips fall, okay? Let's just see. One game at a time, everybody. That's been the motto for the past couple weeks from me. One game at a time, okay? Tom Snipes feels like 2 years since. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Where can we watch Chiesa tomorrow? I am working on that, all right? So keep tabs on us on Twitter, okay, the Twitter account and everything. We are going to try and sort that out and then let it be known what we can do. Man, am I doing a watch? Am I going to do a watch along for Chiesa's friendly? Is that what it's come to? I don't think it's happening, everybody. Okay. And unfortunately today with what's going on personally and whatnot, I will not be able to do a watch along for this Empoli match today. Okay. As much as I love doing them and wanting to, I won't be able to do one today. That's why I was joking about potentially the watch along for that friendly tomorrow, but is what it is. I can't do one today, unfortunately, either. But we will be live for the post-match podcast tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, okay? And then we can go there. Hashtag Chiesa watch. There we go. Hashtag Chiesa watch. Let's go. Let's go. All right, everybody. Let's get to Empoli, okay? So Juve is set to play Empoli today. Odds are with us, okay, in terms of betting. If you're a betting man or woman out there, Juve to win pays you just about 1.5. The draw pays all 4.5, okay. Empoli winning almost 7-1, all right, but that ain't happening. That ain't happening. The form of the two clubs going into this one, exactly similar. 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw in their last 5. Okay, that's their records in the last 5. Empoli did find a shock win against us in Turin last season. All right, and they've started off this year better than most would expected, being 6 points clear of the drop zone right now. Okay. But again, I expect Juve to get the job done. We're going to have a little fun here before I really dive into this matchup and everything. And then we'll do the prediction challenge while some of you guys just love dropping those predictions immediately. Here we go. 4-1 Juve coming from Jeremiah. Dushan with 2, Keane with 1, Milik with 1. 15 attempts, 6 on target. There you go. Dropping it in right off the hop. I love it. I love it. Now, let's get to some trivia. Let's have some fun. I'm going to see if you guys can tackle some of these. We're going to start it off very, very easy, okay? Name 2 players we sent there on loan this year. Who are the 2 players we sent on loan this year? Going to give you some time here while we got Tony coming in here. Alberto, who wins Serie A this year? Let's hear it. Oh, man. At just after 6 a.m. on a Friday. I don't think I can say another team's name. And, oh, man. Do we really think those light blue chumps can do it? Do we really think that they've got a serial loser and choke artist as coach? Do we really think they can keep that pace up and go the distance? I don't know. None of the other teams have been consistent enough to really threaten everything. If Juve could just stop tripping on their own dick and get this thing going, but yeah, I ain't even gonna do it at this time, Tony brother. Okay, I ain't even gonna do it. He's laughing. I love it. Ain't gonna do it. Now, in terms of the first trivia question, look at you guys. Animesh saying De Winter and Pellegrini, half correct. Half correct. Rovella and De Winter, half correct. De Winter, Rovella. Rovella did not head to Empoli, everybody. Zaccaria and Rovella. De Winter. Piazza. Boom. Piazza. There you go. There you go. Piazza. Piazza. Piazza De Winter. How many games in the last 10 between these two sides have not been a win for Juve? Okay? So, how many games in the last 10 have we dropped points against Empoli? Let's see. Let's see. And we're going to give some time here. Let's go. Look at this. Soiree coming in saying Juve will win. Chiesa carnage incoming in 2023. This would be something of like epic proportion if Juve could swing this season around into a Serie A Scudetto victory, okay? This would actually top the season where we were abysmal to start of the 15 season there, and then went on that huge run and then ended up taking this, in my opinion, would be far more impressive than that particular season for a number of reasons. Roster being one, because they were together and had quite a bit more established than we do at this point. The absolute turmoil from this season in compared to that season isn't even close, because that season you felt hard done by and you knew that the results were there. They just weren't coming. This season is like there's a lot of doubt, not only in the fans, the players themselves, the team. You could see it in their body language. So it's a big turnaround. This would be far above that turnaround and that comeback that season. So in terms of how many Juve have dropped, games have dropped in the past 10 against Empoli, we have the guesses in. Animesh, 1. King Isa, 2. Jeremiah, 1. 2 from Remo. 2 from Leo. The correct answer is 1. Juve has only dropped one game. That was the shock loss in Turin last season to Empoli. That's the only one in 10 years that they did not, in the last 10 meetings, that they did not win against Empoli. All right. Now, if we're going on this hypothetical situation that Juve wins. If Juve wins Serie A, the management should build a statue of Max. I want to know what Swarit is smoking. Hey, if it happens, hey, it's free to dream. So Swarit, it's cool. If Chiesa destroys it enough to propel us to that level, props. Absolute props. Di Maria and Pogba hopefully will fire on all cylinders as well. Hey, we have been left to this. Okay, so based on what we've been able to do or not be able to do with everybody else, these guys need to come in and they need to have an impact. It might not be right away, obviously, but they need to have an impact and be big for us, okay? They have to. They have to. Alex P. saying, we got them exactly where we want them. Now we go on the offensive. Yeah, there you go. It's one way to look at it, right? Harder to remain on top and easier to chase there. So let's see what happens. See what happens. Juster say, I don't remember how many points, how far back in the table we're at this point last season. So maybe I'll drum that up for the post-match pod tomorrow morning, John. We'll take a look and we'll actually go back to that 15 season as well, speaking about this hypothetical, and have some fun there. And we'll look at the seasons dating back. I know that I can't recall last season where exactly we were, but we had an awful start. This season's actually been a better start overall and in terms of points than last season, because I remember last season being dreadful for 4 matches right off the hop. And we started off with a win. I think we got 2 wins in our first 4 or 5 matches this season, if I remember correctly. But last season, that was not the case. So I do think numerically we are in better shape than we were last season. But I think the gap is more to the top just because of the fact those clowns are undefeated. So, yeah, let's see what happens. All right. Now, having some fun there with some hypotheticals and everything. Good stuff, everybody. Now, who's the leading goal scorer of this fixture? Okay. And just to help everybody out, Empoli and Juve have only faced each other 28 times. Okay. And I think the first meeting, if I recall correctly, was somewhere around 86 or 87 season. Okay. So let's go with that. Let's go with that and say 28 games starting around late 80s. Okay. So you'll, from there on, take it from there. Who's the leading goal scorer in this? ADP, Alex P. Although he put APD, Alex Piero Del. I know what you mean, buddy. It's all good. ADP, Del P, ADP, Del Piero, Mr. T, Trezeguet. All right. It is Trezeguet. Who can tell me how many goals he leads the fixture with? How many goals does Trezeguet have to lead this one? Trezeguet was an absolute killer. It was his birthday not long ago and started talking about him. And the duo he had with Del Piero was absolutely incredible. And man, that guy, Trezeguet was just so unassuming. He was awkward in movements, but he just made everything work. And he was a killer. Right foot, left foot, head. It doesn't matter. Like, he would turn things that look like nothing into goals. It was wild to see. We got guesses on goals. 3, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 9 from Michael Rezo. So if this were the Price is Right format, Michael Raza would win with 9 goals as Trezeguet led with 11. All right. So 11 goals from Trezeguet. All right. So there you go. And again, 28 total games between these two clubs in their history. Juventus has only dropped points in 6 of them. So 22 have been victories, 3 wins for Empoli, and 3 draws. All right. So there you go. Now, let's get to this match. We talked about Empoli finding the shock win against us in Turin last season. Also, a reminder, everybody, like the video, okay, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here, but like the video. Now, they're doing better this season than many would have thought. Right now at this point, about 6 points up ahead of the drop zone. They're going to play a 4-3-1-2 most likely, but it's kind of questionable. Some are saying out there that they could drop a 5th defender in there for coverage, but they might, and there's a good chance, just play it straight up the way they have most of the season, which is 4-3-1-2. Get after it. If they find a goal, then expect clamp down, which is what they've been doing. So expect that. Okay, 4-3-1-2. It'll be interesting to see how they face and approach Juve. We talk about this all the time, that teams used to have that fear and they used to change from their go-to. The trend so far this season has been that teams have been playing us in the same fashion that they would any other side. And again, this should actually help Juventus. So again, one of the reasons I was expecting better things out of us this season is because of last season. You started to see that trend kind of pick up, especially towards the end of the year, where teams were not clamping down on us and not shelling up, and they would play it wide open. That should be helping us. Okay, so that should be helping us continue to get space and work together as a unit. When teams clamp down, all that space is gone. It's very, very hard for you to create. And the best of sides with the most chemistry, unbelievable talent, struggle when teams clamp down. So the fact that opposition has been playing Juve for quite some time now, straight up in a normal fashion, should be playing to our favor and our advantage, but it hasn't worked out that way. And that's been really dialing up the frustration on Juventini's end, and understandably so, right? So you have that. If they face us in a 4-3-1-2 and are fearless, we need to punish them and put them under. And regardless of how they face us, we need to win this game. So Juve needs to win this game. Juve needs to finish off the month strongly. Now, both of these sides, okay, as we get closer to prediction time, everybody, and then we're going to have some fun with Storm the Barn as we get closer to prediction time. Both these teams in league games this season have only averaged exactly 2 goals per game, okay? Only 2 goals per game on average. So it's hard to envision either goalkeeper is going to be tested a lot today. But I have a feeling Juve is going to test Empoli a lot today, okay? A lot today. Now, in terms of lineups, again, I was talking earlier about wanting Gatti to get that start. But the main one that I do see actually has Szczesny in goal, Danilo, Bonucci, and Sandro as your 3 center backs. Across the middle in the 5, Quadrado, McKennie, Locatelli, Rabiot, Kostic, Vlahovic, and Milik up top. However, again, it's also been called a 4-4-2. Danilo, Bonucci being your center backs, Sandro, Quadrado being your fullbacks, McKennie playing that outside role. Hopefully not a 4-4-2. And getting a central midfielder on the outside. Cannot stress how much I do not like that. All right. I cannot stretch that. I just cannot stress that enough. I'm going to pull up some more as there are more lineup details coming out. And I just want to see if there's any changes as we get closer to this game time, because sometimes they do that. But no, what we're seeing, what I just gave you is the latest that I've seen, and it hasn't been changed as of yet. Yesterday, like I said, there was Gatti talk about getting the start. Maybe he can get it, okay? Weston on the outside, useless. Yes, any central midfielder on the outside. Like, if you're not an outside player, it's just shocking to me to even do that. But we'll see. Jeremiah, I really want to see Fagioli in this game. McKennie is so underwhelming. How in the world is he starting? So, again, we covered McKennie quite extensively on the last post-match podcast, and I used him as an example because it's the most glaring. There are individual struggles, and this goes not just for McKennie, but many players on this team right now. There are individual struggles, and then there's systematic struggles and issues. McKennie suffers from both tremendously, okay? And positionally, this team has major issues, and this hybrid thing just contributes to it. So it's a problem. It's a problem, and I'm shocked that we haven't moved away from it. In terms of Fagioli, again, a game where he probably could have gotten the start. You know, Pogba's not back. You could go with Miretti. It's my one knock on this lineup. One of the knocks is if we do go 3-5-2, use Gatti, use an actual center back in there probably for Sandro. You can switch sides with Danilo so that Quad can be the coverage on the right. Danilo can kind of be that fullback style on your left. You still have Kostic quad there, right? It's going to be okay. In the middle of the park, Locatelli, Rabiot, McKennie, there's no offensive prowess in there. And that unit will not play as a unit together. When you have Locatelli or even Paredes and guys that play like that, there is more interchange amongst our midfield than there is usually, okay? When you add Miretti into the mix, there's even more interchange between them, okay? So it's one of those things. I don't like those particular three together in terms of Locatelli, Rabiot, and what's his face, McKennie. I don't like that mix. I don't like that mix. There is some news now coming in that Paredes to start. Alex P's dropping Paredes in there, but I haven't actually seen that. I do want to talk about Paredes though. So when we talked about the news earlier today, there was a little tidbit of news coming out about Paredes saying that we are still waiting to find out the exact details of what makes it an obligation to purchase for Juventus. It might actually be something related to Champions League. That's what was rumored when he was first coming in. But if we don't hit that stipulation, I'm probably not buying him, everybody. So I'm interested in hearing everybody's kind of thoughts on Paredes so far in the live chat. So drop that there. I'll give you some time to come up with your thoughts on Paredes. For me, the difference between Paredes and Locatelli has not been it's not been big at all, if at all. I like Locatelli. I know there's been so many Juventini hard on him and everything, but again, Paredes has come in and it's made no change, and that just tells me and reiterates to me that there's system problems there. Okay, we can see whether it's Paredes in there or it's Locatelli. The two Metsalas just bomb forward and create this straight line effect with our forwards. And we are left to just play it to the flank. So while everybody's losing it for these guys to make these forward passes, those forward passes are not there for them to even make. Paredes, Locatelli, whatnot. We don't attack space, anything like that. It just, for me, Paredes has not offered anything. And that tells me that it's more to the system and not just the players that we have in there. You can plug and play whoever you want. The game plan's not there, and they're not figuring it out. But let's get these thoughts on Paredes here, everybody, and see where we stand here. So Luca saying Paredes needs to improve massively. He's lazy defensively, and it's led to major midfield gaps several times this season. I actually think the only part that's been somewhat decent has been defensive, to be honest. Don't mind his defensive work rate, and he's willing to sacrifice where need be. I will always give him props for putting the ball down quickly and booting Tonali. That was a sweet move. Really liked that. We needed a couple assholes in the team, and we needed some assholes in the team. So I actually appreciated that. Props to Paredes for that one. Everybody, while you're here, please like the video. Quick reminder, hit that like. Takes a couple seconds, helps out the channel tremendously. Tom Snipes, Paredes just doesn't look like he wants to be here. Interesting. Paredes equals Rovella. So would we have been better off keeping Rovella around? That was a shout many made. Alex P saying the projected alignment case with 352 had Paredes in the middle. I didn't see one with Paredes. I saw Locatelli, Rabiot, and McKennie. But yeah, whatever. Hopefully not, because Alex P says Paredes is a terrible player. So there you have it. Simple. He is terrible. John Stewart, I think Paredes needs a creator in there with him. I'm disappointed we haven't seen a midfielder of Locatelli, Miretti, and Paredes. So, and that was a shout. Many think that Locatelli can be that Mezzala that helps and does a lot there. I am going to stick by this. and screaming from the mountaintops over here if I have to. 2 pivot midfield for Juventus, 1 attacking mid. Locatelli, Paredes, and Moretti could do it. Moretti being like that in the center, but that attacking mid. That could work. Will we ever see it? No. Don't think so. And we have played some games with 2-man pivots, but we still use that mid hybrid style coming out the side. Shocking stuff. Shocking stuff. Sweaty, both Locatelli and Paredes have been underwhelming, objectively. Would you start a midfield trio, Luca, Rabiot, and Paredes against Benfica? So, against Benfica, again, I think if I'm looking at this trio, it's still lacking for me in terms of being able to punish them offensively. Rabiot's got great work rate, energy. He's in good form right now, no matter what the hell it is, World Cup season or anything. Becoming a free agent at the end of the year, whatever it is, he's in good form. But I'm just not a believer that Locatelli as a Mitsala is going to be this game breaker and give us the offense we need. We needed to see it last year out of necessity because we just didn't have any of the guys to do it. This season, though, I have more belief in guys like Moretti and Fagioli to help and do it if we do it properly. But again, our system, I really, really doubt this system that takes these guys from one side and makes us so one-dimensional. When I look at this team offensively, we're so one-dimensional. And to me, the emphasis when I look at most of our lineups, it has been the defensive side of things. But when you're struggling to score and you're struggling to get those guys firing and creating chances is even a struggle, sometimes you got to throw a little bit of caution to the wind and get your best foot forward. I would not go with a midfield trio of Luca, Rabiot, and Paredes if that's just me against Benfica. I would look for some offensive prowess in there. That said, for me, and I guess it'll be interesting to see what happens in this game and if Paredes does in fact start or it's Locatelli. But again, I would swing it with a pivot. Still a 3-man midfield. Rabiot can be in there. Locatelli can be in there. Paredes, you can interchange with one of them. So 2-man pivot out of those 3, I would do against Benfica. But I would definitely have Moretti in there. You got to have some offensive help in there. Okay. Jeremiah losing on what system? There's no system, unfortunately. I don't see one existing at all. I think we're very defensive minded in the systems that we do employ. That's where you can see any type of cohesion or, unity amongst team play with these group of guys. And that's defensive. When you see them shell up, when you see the responsibilities and whatnot, as long as their energy and work rate's there, you could see what they're doing defensively come through. But when it comes to the offense, you don't see that same structure. Like when you watch them defensively, you see which players know when they're to go engage on the ball, who's going where when that player engages and who's covering what. You can see that on that end. When it comes to the offensive side of things, it's literally a free-for-all. And that's when the positions start to go wild and get all over the place. So that's where we start to kind of lose that. So I think for me, we've been a defensive focused system anyways, and kind of freewheeling up top. And Max's words would kind of reiterate that. So we see what happens. We've already got some Storm the Barn questions coming in. Okay, so start getting those in. It's prediction time, Juventini. Okay, so let's see if you guys can beat the gaffer at the predictions for today's match. Okay, it's quite simple how we do it here. Okay, final score has to be one of your predictions, and then any 2 tiebreakers you choose. Okay, so let's have some fun with it. I'm gonna say today Juventus will win. I think we're gonna get a healthy amount of chances. Okay, but I think we put 2 in. Okay, so 2-0 for Juve. All right. Now, for my tiebreakers, do I want to try and nail the goal scorers? Do I want to have some of this fun? Let's see what we're going to do. Well, Ramos coming in here hot. 3-0 Juve. The hat trick for Vlahovic. 5 offsides. 12 attempts on target. Wow. Wow, there you go. 1-1 coming in from Juve AK. Join us on Twitch. 1-1. Oh, I hope my weekend doesn't kick off like that. Come on. Come on. Tony coming in here 2-1. Dusan and Milik. I like it. I like it. Swati coming in with the 3-1. Dusan, Milik, and Keane on the score sheet. There you go. So I said 2-0. I'm going to try and hit the goal scores, and I'm going to go with Vlahovic, and I'm going to go with Keane being rewarded on some decent form as of late. And in Max's words, there was this comment on my daily update video from yesterday saying that because Max was praising him, just saying he's been on an upward trend, which he has. He's had some good cameos, and he worked his ass off in the last match. Obviously had a really, really bad miss off a Kostic feed there in the derby. But outside of that, he was working his ass off. So those that didn't see what Max is seeing in him, the attitude has shifted in Moise Keane. He started off the year, he was just abysmal, easily down, easily dropping his head, not running hard. And that's changed. He's running his bag off, and he's working extremely hard. His touch has gotten a bit better, still pretty much like kicking a ball into a trampoline, but it is better, slightly better. He's working his ass off. I think he gets a goal, whether he comes in, whether he starts it or he's off the bench in this one. Look for Moise Keane to get one. Vlahovic, the other one, and the reason is because I captained him in this one, hoping that maybe he gets a brace, but he'll definitely get one, okay? So Fantacalcio for me. Captain's got to get one at least. So Keane and Vlahovic. My other tiebreaker is going to be the first card of the match. I like to go with the cards. First card of the match in this one is going to be Empoli, and look for them to get it at about the 36th minute, okay? So 36-minute yellow to Empoli. And yeah, let's roll with that. And with that, predictions are in. Everybody else, continue to drop your predictions in there, okay? And we'll see. I'll maybe take a look at it for tomorrow's post-match. We'll see if somebody took it down, okay? 2-0 coming in for Tom Cam, Dusan, and Danilo. There you go. Michael Razzo coming in here, 3-1. Juve, Dusan, Keane, McKennie. For all the crap Michael Razzo gives McKennie, he's calling him as a goal scorer. This is amazing. This is amazing. 2 Empoli yellow cards, 5 camera shots of Max Allegri standing on the touchline. Just 5? I don't know. When you're on a hot seat like that, depending how the game goes, ooh, I got to say more than 5 camera shots, man. Ooh, I like that. I like this. I like these prop bets, they call them, okay? And you see a lot of that in the Super Bowl. There's wild prop bets that you can bet. Everything from coin toss to what color the Gatorade is going to be when they dump it on the winning coach, like all sorts of that. I like this camera shots one. Maybe we should start including a prop bet. 5 camera shots. So I'm going to say it's more than 5. I will say more than 5, all right? Who's going to keep track of that one, though, okay? Let's see. Who's going to keep track of that one? But I love the fact that Michael called McKennie a goal scorer for all the flack he gives him all the time. All right. Amazing. Now, we got a little bit of time left. Okay. I've actually come to enjoy these sessions. I love my team. Okay. I think we have an amazing team. A lot of difference in opinions, which makes the show fantastic. But I have been enjoying the solos, taking it back to when I first started this thing in 2018, but now doing lives, and it's cool just mixing it up with you guys. You guys are amazing. And the jerseys, by the way, I mentioned early, Tom Snipes getting his Vlahovic. We had Abbas, friend of the channel since day one in 2018. He ended up being one of the winners from the Bremer giveaway, and the guy's been following for like 4 years, and all the giveaways we've done, we're at about 31 kits we've given away. The guy's never won anything. He's one of them from day one. So it was super cool to see a guy from back in day one winning one. Okay. He ended up going with the black away, and he put Del Piero 10 with Champions League badge on it. Pretty sick. Okay. Absolutely sick. And then we have, of course, Aldo, who was granted the jersey of his choice from Fayez, who was the actual winner and was on the live chat and is unable to accept it due to mailing issues based on what's going on with the situation where he lives. So he chose Aldo from our live chat to get the jersey to, and it's currently waiting to get to Aldo, and Aldo chose the away with Chiesa 7 on the back. Okay, so those kits are getting out there. I say it all the time. The AJC Army is second to none. It's the best. You guys are the absolute best. So the comments, the posts from you guys when you get your jerseys or the giveaways, there's 31. We're not stopping, okay? I have the next one, okay? I'm sure most of you have already seen the next one that's coming, okay? 2004, beautiful kit. Del Piero on the back, all right? So this is the next one, okay? Hey, you guys are the best and you deserve it, okay? This channel is nothing without all of you, all right? So the least we can do is have some fun giveaways and get that going, okay? So does that have the sweat stains on it? Come on, Luca. Of course. Of course. Match worn from 2004, Del Piero. Sweat, blood, everything. Let's go. But that's my thank you to all of you. Okay, the jerseys are the least we can do for an amazing community that we built and continue to grow. All we ask in return, hey, throw some likes on all our stuff. Throw some likes on all our stuff. Share the content and help try and grow the community even bigger. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do. And you guys are doing a fantastic job. So let's keep it rolling. Hell, we just hit 2K. Went at season's end. The road to 3K is almost there. I think we're around 72 or something from 3K. Let's hit 3. Let's see what we can hit by season's end this time, all right? We're almost there at 3, so let's keep it rolling, everybody. Now, Storm the Barn. Let's go. Let's get into Storm the Barn. Razzo, would you take winning the Europa League this season, not making champions next season, or win nothing this season and make champions next season? That is so winning the Europa this season and not making Champions League, or win nothing this season and make champions next season. Well, you can't win Europa and not make the champions, because the winner of Europa qualifies for the Champions League. So if we win the Europa, we're in. That could be a really good way for us to get in there. Okay. So yeah, you kind of can't have one without the other, Mike. So I would take winning the Europa and qualifying for Champions League. But my question, I'm going to flip to everybody. Say all we win this year is the Europa. That's how we get into Champions League. Say we don't get there in the table. Is there any way, and this is the question I've been asking even from the post-match to you and Tini out there, is there any way Max can redeem himself this season? Would going on a run, would winning the Europa League, would that save Max in your minds? Let's just say. And if we don't make the top 4, we better win the Europa. Better win the Europa League. Got to get in Champions League. Those resources are going to be huge for Juve. Okay. So Remo immediately saying no. There is no way Max can redeem himself. All right. There you have it. it's going to be an interesting mix. It's going to be interesting to see how this all happens, okay, and how this all goes down, and if Max can, in fact, say himself what the team is doing, what the team's plans are. Is it, in fact, the financial reasons that they're not actually moving on from? Is it the fact that they're uncertain about the replacement and they're maybe gun shy because it's the third coach in 4 seasons and whatnot? Who knows? Who knows? But Lorenzo coming in here saying needs to develop a system and get top 3 for him to change his mind on Max. So develop a system and get in the top 3. Interesting. Dells, if he masterminded qualification and win the Champions League. Wow. Luca saying, we're Juve. It's Champions League we want. Rather crash in Champions League than ever be in Europa. Reality is Max gets slapped in Europa. Would we get slapped in Europa? Maybe, based on what we've seen. It's interesting. Swarty's saying, I think our team is more than capable of winning the Europa League, but there's still a glimmer of hope in the Champions League. Hey, we got to get the job done, and then let's see where the chips fall, right? We will see. Jeremiah saying, Max already out of the Reese top 50 manager standings. It's actually quite embarrassing. His value has certainly dropped. It's, you know what? I saw that. So I saw that top 50 managers post there. And, you know, I got to say, you know, this season obviously has not done any favors for Max by any means. But did you see some of the ratings in there? It's pretty shocking. Pretty shocking stuff there. I'm trying to see if I could quickly pull it up here. But man, it was pretty shocking. I don't think I can find it too quick, unfortunately. But man, some of the list there was absolutely wild to see. But hey, his value has dropped. Like I said, this season has done him no favors. So is what it is. We can only hope for him to turn it around and then see where the chips fall. And if Juve does pull the trigger, make a different focus. Luca saying I think Fonseca even made the list. Like there was some shocking stuff in there. Okay. But nonetheless, let's get to another Storm the Barn there. So we got to Michael Razzo's there. Next one up. Thoughts. I feel this Juve squad is still suffering, losing CR7 followed by Dybala. It's hard to replace a combined 40-50 goals a season plus assists. Current squad not good enough. Facts. All right. Well, let's get into it. I think there's you're hurting, so you do suffer, but you also do gain. So I think losing Ronaldo, there was obviously a hit to the goal tally, but there was a gain in terms of finally getting these guys to wake up and realize they can't just rely on one player. So it was the push to everything we needed to do, which is guys to step up, this team to start playing for each other and not for one individual. The problem is the rest of it's been lacking, but I think there was good and bad that came with it, to be honest. In terms of Dybala going away, well, Dybala can't stay fit. So it really is what it is. He was a great player when he was in the lineup for us. I think he was a good, solid player. I always loved Paulo Dybala. The fact hasn't changed that he's just can't stay fit. He got off guns blazing with Roma, and he got hurt taking a PK. So there's good and there's bad with the both of those. Honestly, right now, the players and the manager need to get it together at Juventus, regardless. And you can't move forward if you keep looking in the past. So it is what it is. Losing those guys, there's pros and cons to it. That's how I feel anyways about it. Now, next one up is Dells. Do you think we're good enough to win the Europa? Personally, I don't think we are. I think we are good enough to compete in there, definitely go a certain ways. I think there are teams in there that are tailor made to create problems for us, and that would be tough. That would be tough. I don't think we would cakewalk by any means, but I don't think we'll get pumped or destroyed by any means in Europa. I do think we're good enough to get through there, especially if we get our guys back like Pogba, Chiesa, Di Maria, whatnot. Absolutely, we could cause some damage in there. Okay, so Jeremiah just repeated the previous question, okay, that we got to, but Europa, I think we could do it. I honestly do think we can get there. Dells, is there any way possible that you would accept a CR7 return? Wow. So this is going to be an interesting one. Now, everybody has seen the what's going on with Ronaldo there at Man United. I mean, the latest one was the match against Tottenham there. They're up, they're winning. He's got him warming up. Ten Hag has him warming up. Obviously pulls two different players in ahead of him. Ronaldo just gets fed up, pissed off, and he walks off. Ten Hag then doubles down and has made Cristiano Ronaldo not a part of any of the first team sessions and whatnot. Now, like, it's a mess. It's a mess. CR7 right now, I think, would be absolutely awful idea for Juventus to get into. Right now, based on where we stand, we actually need the opposite effect. We don't need a savior coming in. And it's one of the reasons why I got really heated and pissed off when our results were going to shit and our coach kept talking about players getting injured and the injuries. This is why I got pissed off, because we're at a moment in time where we need all our guys that are with the team that are playing to step it up. And we need them to start playing above their level, okay, and pick it up and get it together as a unit. Bringing in someone as a thought of being the savior and the heal all and fix all is the worst possible idea Juventus could make. And honestly, I'm starting to think that players, coaches, everything, once you leave, you stay away, because it hasn't been good. So just everything in terms of returns, no, unless it's like from a player retiring and then going into like a manager role at some point, or like a upper management role, I'm okay with that. But in terms of performance wise, managers coming back, coaches, players, I'm starting to be done with the whole, I'm getting major PTSD, basically, everybody, okay, from just returns. So for me, absolutely not with Ronaldo returning. Absolutely not. We'll get some of the live thoughts. Ronaldo would be a liability coming in for Phil Mang. Huge fan, but I don't want him back. Ryan, hell fucking no. Okay, simple. Luca saying F to the no. John Stewart, oh please no. Yeah, it's we're all kind of seeing him on the same wavelength there, as it being a no. Michael Razzo coming in here with another one. Would you put fans on the payroll to make the stadium a better atmosphere? If so, who's the player you cut and use the wages to fund this? Wow, what a scenario. So the funny thing is, I said this a while ago as we were talking about the stadium atmosphere and whatnot, and I said this is one of my fears. One of my fears that going into a North America style setup like NFL or something, that I would not be surprised if Agnelli did something to that effect. Cheerleaders or something like that, and not the typical cheerleaders, females, pom-poms on the sides and whatnot. Like, I'm talking about a setup group amongst the stands to get everybody fired up and going, and I just don't like it, and it's so plastic. So would I do it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would not do it. If we were to do it, and the player I would cut to use the wages to fund this, take your pick. Like I said, already top of the list for me is McKennie. McKennie needs to be moved. Rugani could be moved. Yeah. But this is a fear I have, is that one day he thinks he's going to do something like that or whatnot, but we'll see. Neville coming in here with the storm the barn. Some people blame Allegri for our tough time, but the bigger problem is the mistakes we did in the transfer market in previous years, like selling players like Coleman, Cancelo, and younger players. So, to Neville's point, we got into this a little bit earlier when I was talking about Bonucci and a possible contract extension for him, and just never having that contingency plan to the levels of some of these other clubs. And it's got to be better. I truly do believe the U23 work that Cherubini, that program he's put together, and all the work they're seeing, and the names that you're starting to see us be linked with, and how many teams are targeting these same youngsters. Juve's doing a good job. They got to keep that wave going. The biggest thing is integration. Right now, we still continue to see a problem with integration. So that's still lacking. In terms of selling the players like Goman, Cancelo, younger players, look, we found ourselves making errors and having to write those books by getting rid of players we probably shouldn't have and whatnot. But regardless, one way or another, the players that he has, Allegri is still to blame for some of these current issues, because you still have to put together all of these guys. You still have to put together everything you have and make it a team. And he has still kind of failed to do so. And he's not free and clear. Like, he's not solely to blame, obviously. But he's got to do better with the guys he has. And the players themselves need to step it up and pick it up, right? And, I mean, there's examples all over the place of guys doing really good, managers doing extremely well, having players, putting in shifts and pulling above their weight. I think Max got to get together. The players, it's a gut check time for the players. And this is why, going back to what I said about Ronaldo coming back, these players don't need a savior coming in. They need to pick up their socks and get their shit together and step it up. So, yeah, but in terms of, again, past moves and stuff, there are players that moved that, we probably would have liked them to stay. But at the end of the day, some of those too, when you go back to those rosters, some of those are actually okay. Sure, they might have gone to another team, might have done better one up, but at that particular time, some of them are borderline if we were okay selling them or whatnot, based on what they would have done for minutes and wise at Juventus and whatnot. So Coleman's kind of like that for me. I don't really throw him into that loop, but over the past few years, I definitely would talk about our defense and guys we kind of moved on that probably should have kept. But again, you don't move forward if you keep looking in the past. So we move on. All right, we move on. But Leicester coming in, this is why I'm against the Mercado saviors like Sergei Milinkovic-Savic. Well, thing is, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic, would he necessarily be like a savior? This is kind of like the problem is everybody, we're in this one of the situations. This is why I start to kind of shine a light on Max, because in theory, Sergei Milinkovic-Savic is he's having a hell of a season again. He's a solid midfielder, okay? He should be coming in here not being expected to be the savior, but being able to fulfill a role and play amongst a system that's already established and whatnot. My problem is when you don't have something established, you don't even know. You're going from 4-4-2 to 3-5-2 to 4-3-3. How the hell do you even know who you want to come in? How the hell do you even know? So you gotta I don't look at SMS as being a savior. But it was interesting because the question came up on the last podcast with me, Omer, and Ant said, well, he's like, if you could take them right now in January, we're not, is that going to be the difference make for us? And Omer and I basically said, well, no, at this point right now with what we're seeing with Juve, I think you could pull in whoever the hell you want. It's not going to make a difference because we have no clue moving forward. And there's a lot missing there from strategy. We are literally banking on our talented players to come back into the lineup and make that difference. And hey, that's cool. That's the way Max wants it. That's the way he gets it. I hope it works. I hope it works for his sake, for our sake, for everyone's sake. Juve needs results. We need the resources. We can't afford to slip and falter anymore. So I hope that that's what happens and we sort it out. All right. So with that, everybody, we're getting close to show end. I just want to reiterate a couple things to everybody of what's to come. All right. So obviously we've got a World Cup break in the middle of the season happening in November. What's going to happen at the All Juve cast during that time? Okay, we're going to have some fun. We're obviously going to continue to follow Juve players taking part in the World Cup, okay? But what we're going to do is we are going to draw all the nations taking part in the World Cup, okay? So we're going to split them up amongst the team members, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to split them up amongst the team members, and you don't know who's going to get what nation, okay? So what you guys are going to do to take part and try to win some goodies, okay? Maybe some stuff from Striped Harps, maybe a kit, all right? So what all you're going to have to do is when the time comes, you choose which AJC team member you want to ride with, okay? So you pick your ride or die through the World Cup, not knowing what nations he's going to get, or she, Lex. And then after we divvy him up, we will see where you stand. And we're going to make teams of our viewers and subscribers. And they will join up with the AJC team member of their choice. And that is how we're going to follow. And we're going to do fun little coverage shows covering what's been going on in the World Cup. All right. And it's going to be fun. Okay. And we're going to have some fun with that. And November, what's also going to make it fun, probably extra interesting, maybe tough to look at. Apologize in advance if it is. We're going to take part in Movember, all right? So the team is going to be rocking the mustaches in support of men's health, okay? And we're going to try to donate as much money as possible to support the cause and the research, okay? So Movember, big thing. I've done it in years past, and my wife's going to be unhappy for the month of November with my mustache, but that's okay because it's for a good cause. All right. So we're going to be rocking that as well. So those are a couple things to look forward to coming up. Just want to keep you all in the loop. As far as talking amongst all of you, the call-in shows, we can probably start rocking some call-in shows. And for the World Cup coverage, I'd be more than happy to get all of you involved if you want to call in at some point in time, and we could talk about Juve players in the World Cup or whatnot. And as far as Juve goes, half times of the watch-along matches, that's your time to call in, and we will probably have you start calling in specific shows. We are going to find a time. We're going to set a time up where it'll literally just be a call-in show. You call in, say your piece, raise a question, do whatever, mix it up, and then we keep the line moving, all right? So everybody that's got my WhatsApp already, that's fantastic. That is how you do it. For anybody that's with me today, here it is. There's my number on WhatsApp, okay? I've loved mixing it up with all of those that have already reached out. You're going to need this number to take part in the call-in sessions, okay? That doesn't mean you call me. That's not how we do it. When the call-in sessions come up, you simply send me a message that you're ready to come on, and I take them in queue, and I make the calls, okay? So that's how we do it, but you're going to need that. Everybody, enjoy the match today, okay? Again, wish I could do the watch-along today, but I cannot. I'm flying solo with my lovely two daughters as mom is away. Please pray for me and the girls as well. We should be okay. She's only gone a couple days. All right. So enjoy the match, everybody. We'll be live tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. And then we are going to tackle this one in the post match and hopefully have a victory to cover. Everybody, if you can like the video, would be massive. And then after the video ends, just throw something in the comment section would be massive. Okay. Anything. Thanks. Great show. Hashtag Skanga out. Hashtag Lucci out. Whatever would be great. Okay. We'll talk to you all tomorrow morning. Thank you for the participation. Again, the AJC Army absolutely rocks. Okay. Second to none. The best in the game. Fino alla fine. Forza Juve. Let's go beat the piss out of Empoli. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Ciao tutti.